Alrighty, welcome to episode 146 of the MMA Circus here on BloodyElbow.com and live on YouTube. My name is Nick Baldwin. He is Andrew the Clown Kid Lawrence, and as always, we are your hosts for today. Andrew, I got into a routine of saying, "Hey Andrew, it's been a couple weeks. How was your last 14 days?" Now we got to bump it up to one more week. It's been 3 whole weeks without me in your life, without you in my life.
How much have you missed me?
Doing? I've missed you more than you missed me, I can tell you that.
I mean, that's always the case, right? Even when I'm here every week. No, I missed you, little buddy. It's nice to see your happy, smiling Canadian face. You're looking older.
You don't have any other 17-year-olds in your life, I would assume. So.
Yeah, you're my only source for a 17-year-old fix. Jesus, that sounded terrible. Fuck. Listen, guys, I've been ill.
Take it off YouTube.
Yeah, edit it out of the show. Shit, man, this is starting well.
And now
the regret is settling in. Yeah, I've been sick this week. Last week I was in New Jersey. The week before that, you wanted to do it on some god-awful date, like Saturday or something while I was traveling to Boston.
Behold, Jed was available, and we did our 2018 predictions and 2017 awards / I actually listened back to last year's award / prediction show we did.
Was I there? Did I do it?
Yeah. And I
don't remember.
You kept calling them, we called them trophy opinions because you despise us calling them awards. Do you remember that?
That sounds like something I do.
Trophy opinions is the term we use. It was hilarious, but so we did that show on Saturday.
We should keep that tradition alive. Oh, so you gave out your trophy opinions.
Correct.
Here, I can run down a couple trophy opinions. What were some of the categories?
Best beard in MMA.
I'm gonna give it to an outlier here and give it to Emil Meek. It's just looking really
I can see
really
that.
Nice.
I gave mine to Milk. I gave mine to Milk Beltran.
Ooh, hey, that's another good one. I would also accept Tyron Woodley because it looks like it's like almost like a piece of foam that he taped to his face. That's the sign of a solid beard.
Jed gave his to DJ, which I think he actually has an underrated beard.
Solid. Super underrated beard for especially little guys. And he's bald. I like when dudes are bald and rocking the beard. That to me is like some people think that's a mixed message. I think it's on point.
It looks good, yeah. And I'm complete opposite, and I look terrible. So go bald and grow a beard. Don't grow.
Could you grow a beard if you tried? Right, like if I gave you a month, Can you go a month without shaving and let's see where you're at?
Yeah, it's basically this.
How often do you shave?
Almost never.
Really, you little baby face. How old are you? 18?
17.
17. 12. 17. Okay. So, yeah, you'll probably never be a real man. It's unfortunate.
No, I won't be. Yeah, it is, but like me for who
there's gonna be one point in the show where like every week that we see you, there's gonna be just like dramatic growth spurts, and you're gonna go through such like a rapid phase of awkward puberty that we're all just gonna laugh.
Well, I'm kind of past that. You go back to episode 1 of then called MMA Junior Radio and go listen to this. It's kind of incredible.
I'm not sure if incredible is quite the word.
Like in a bad way, but
yeah. So I've been a little sick, dealing with probably one of the worst flus I've ever got in my life.
Brooklyn weather. The Indian summer is no more.
Well, you know what's fucked up is like now we're oscillating. We're going back and forth. A couple weeks back, we were at like 10, 15 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm talking here, freezing, cold. And then like a couple of days after that, it'll be 55.
Wow, 55 in January?
55 in January. We had a day. It was 55 degrees. Bunch of rain came and wiped out all the snow. All the snow's gone except for like that hardened black ice that gets left behind, Yeah. And right now it's back to being cold, but I think by the end of the week it's going to be like 40, 45.
Yesterday, the wind chill here, and right now, today's ever so slightly warmer. That doesn't mean it's warm. It's still cold. Yeah. Yesterday, the wind chill was in Fahrenheit -41.
You see, that's just so fucking stupid to live there,
I know. Everybody says it. Jed,
every spring, every summer, you always like pump up to me like Winnipeg. Like you and your wife could move to Winnipeg. It's such a lovely place. The property values are on the up. You can get something nice now and flip it in 15 years. You'll make a bundle. And then it's like, yeah, but all I got to do is endure the fucking Arctic tundra for goddamn 6 months of the year. Yeah, see, to you, there's only like 3 months of winter. To any other human who's lived anywhere else, you're like, why is there 6 months of winter?
Yeah, because fall, when it's, say, like 10 degrees Celsius, which is like, I don't know, 40.
Fucking brutal.
Yeah.
Those are normal. Yeah. Those are normal winter days.
What do you have to do? Winnipeg in the summer, I don't mind. Winnipeg in the summer is actually a pretty nice city. It's a nice place.
I genuinely may visit your city sometime because while I was in the course of making fun of you and Googling Winnipeg like a bunch of times, like I looked around and I was like, well, it looks like a nice city. You could probably go there 3-4 days, have a good time.
It is a nice city, but there's not much to do, so that doesn't help. It's our tourism amount, and then of course the Arctic tundra that comes every so often. That doesn't help. But I saw on Embedded for this upcoming UFC 220 card on Saturday, Stipe has a new house, or somewhat of a new house, in Cleveland, of course, and he was snow blowing his big. Well,
you got it,
Yeah.
There was the whole polar vortex that came by, or whatever the hell it was called, and yeah, we got a bunch of snow.
Boston got hit badly, didn't they?
Hit New York, Boston.
Wow.
Basically, the whole eastern seaboard got hit pretty decently.
But now it's going to be
Boston gets it really bad. Sometimes they're all the way the fuck up there. You think, like, I used to live in New Hampshire, about 40 minutes north of Boston. And you think, oh, it's really close to New York. No, New York is significantly warmer and gets significantly less snow. But in Boston or around New England, they get fucking dumped on sometimes. They'll get like a 6-inch snowstorm and they'll just be like, oh, yeah, that was just like a little thing. And then later on this week, we're going to get 18 inches. So be on the lookout for that. And you're like, Jesus Christ, you get 2 feet of snow in like 4 days. What the fuck?
My theory is that the East Coast just isn't, and this goes for Canada too, because I remember it seems every so often the East Coast of Canada, like Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, that area, PEI.
Maritimes.
The Maritimes.
I nailed that. Yes.
Yeah. The Newfies, they seem to get hit pretty badly as far as snow goes. And I remember last winter, it happened late, like February, they got a lot of snow. But my theory is that the East Coast of Canada and the US just isn't used to it as much as, say, Winnipeg is. And then they make a bigger deal out of it. It's not actually.
See, I think actually you're a little bit wrong. There's like the weather. Yeah. There's the weather phenomenon with like the Great Lakes. You know what a nor'easter is, right? It's like
someone who lives in the Northeast U.S.
No, it's a type of storm that develops like because of the position.
Yeah. I do. Yes.
And then when like I forget if it's low or high pressure systems go over the Great Lakes, they suck up all this moisture and it like dumps extra snow onto Toronto doesn't get it that bad because I guess you have to pass by the Great Lakes before you do it, but other places get it pretty terribly. And New England is a big target for it. But by the way, I knew the fucking Maritimes. Maritimes? I think I'm gonna guess with an N.
Times.
What the fuck? Why is it times?
Wait, hold on. Now you're getting me confused. It's M. Yeah, it's M. I had to make sure and confirm because
Maritimes. Yeah. I think that was in a.
We should probably talk some MMA.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say it was in a Paul Simon song, so that's a really good sign when I'm referencing Paul Simon to maybe wrap this motherfucker up.
I don't know who Paul Simon is anyway, so probably a good time to move on. Okay.
That's rich.
So we had UFC Fight Night at 124 in St. Louis, Missouri this past Sunday. It was a Sunday card, the traditional January 4-fight FS1 main card on a Sunday because of Martin Luther King Day and because of football, right? The main reason is football?
Yeah, football. You don't want to be competing with football. They wanted it right after the football games ended.
Okay. So that card happened. We had a surprising main event to a lot of people. Underdog Jeremy Stevens cashes in. He knocks out Doo Ho Choi, the legendary Korean Superboy, in the second round. I believe it was I want to say a left. Might have been. Do you remember? I don't remember what hand, but great.
Oh, good Lord, I don't remember. No.
A great finish. A TKO win, technically not a knockout. But it was a good stoppage as far as that goes. I mean, the referee definitely was right to intervene. Stevens hits harder than most featherweights on the ground. I mean, in general, he hits harder than most, but man, that ground and pound was really vicious. Like, you don't see ground and pound like that very often when the guy is putting literally everything into it. And when that's the case, even though it was only, say, 2 ground and pound shots, it's time to step in. So the stoppage was good. I was surprised. I expected Choi to be able to pick him apart, and he was doing that in a way. Stevens looked frustrated. Choi won the first round, but all it really took was one huge shot. After sort of in the lead up to that, fight changing shot, he had landed some offense, but really only took one big shot to hurt Choi, and that was really the fight. What did you make of it?
I don't know. It was a really exciting fight. I worry about Doo Ho Choi, and I think I learned. Maybe some Korean person told me we're mispronouncing Doo Ho Choi. You might actually pronounce it Doo Ho, like more like Cha. Doo Ho Cha. Really? Yeah, isn't that weird? But I'm gonna stick with Doo Ho Choi. It rolls off the tongue better. I want him to take a big step back in competition just to kind of save his brain matter and his development as a fighter. I know these South Korean guys got to do whatever 2 years in the army or whatever, but I don't want to rush him anymore. We've clearly found that he has some sort of ceiling, and he loves brawling. He definitely needs some head movement in his game, but he's still growing and developing as a fighter. I still think he could be a really good fighter. I don't know how he'll come back from his 2 years of military service. I don't know if that'll, the Korean Zombie was able to come back and score that great knockout. Then he got injured, but who knows, right? There's so many question marks with his future. But no matter what, his next fight, I really want to see him taking a step down in the competition. Let's not fight anyone ranked. Let's get some highlight reel victories in you. To brawl, he clearly likes to bang, and I just hate to see him kind of fight these elite, composed, completed fighters where he's still kind of very much a work in progress.
Oh, he's a very young fighter. Like, what is he? I'm looking up his age.
I wouldn't be shocked if he was like 24.
And he's 26. That's actually older than I thought. But 26 is still young.
26 is the new 16.
Yeah. And 12 is the new 17.
There you go. Nailed it.
But he's still young. He's still new in his career, but when you have knockout losses or brutal losses like these, because Swanson was a decision, but man, he took a lot of damage, of course, like Cub did back in that fight of the year in 2016. You have to be very concerned for their health, as you talked about. This could be a guy who makes waves early on, but once he hits 30, it's just all the way down. I don't think we're going to be talking about Doo Ho Choi as a top contender in the prime of his career, even when he's 33 or 34. I think
he's like 10 years into his career. He's got 17 fights under his belt now. The vast majority of his losses happening in the last 2 fights, right?
Yeah. 3 in total.
So,
yeah.
It
kind of reminds me of
a lot of questions.
Like, Max Holloway hasn't gotten brutally knocked out, but this isn't a guy who's going to be around for 10 more years, I don't think. The guy's 26, but it doesn't come down to how old you are on paper, when you were born, when your birth certificate says you were born. It comes down to when you started fighting, when you got hurt the first time, when you got knocked out the first time. And Max Holloway, I know he hasn't been knocked out, or if he has, it was a long time ago, but I don't think he has. But
can we play a small game? I'm going to use a phrase that describes this, and you explain to me not what it means metaphorically, but what it means in reality. So it's not the miles, it's the tread. That's what people say. You've heard this phrase?
How much damage you take, yeah.
Yeah, it's not the miles, it's the tread. But what does that mean in reality? Like, what is the actual metaphor we're talking about? Not the fighting part of it, that's the metaphor. But what's the example being used? It's not the miles, it's the tread.
A treadmill?
That worked out just as well as I thought it could. No, we're talking about tires, dude. It's not the amount of miles that's been driven on the tires. It's how much tread's left on the tire. Has it all worn away? So, that's what they mean in these cases. If you're going out there and you're just knocking dudes fucking silly, what's the age? What's the age problem? I'm still 33. No one's ever touched my chin. I've knocked out every guy I've ever fought. Yeah, you're doing great.
I agree with what you're saying, but there is we can't take this too far. It's like you're 40 years old, even if you've never been knocked out in your career, you're not who you were when you were 25. Like age does matter, but not nearly as much as we think it does sometimes.
Yeah, of course. There is of course aging. It is a reality.
Yeah.
What did you think? Like Jeremy Stephens, you're talking about a dude who is like middling as possible at the 145-pound weight class. I don't mean to, bash this guy. Exceptional fighter, super entertaining fighter. He's an awesome guy to watch. I get excited to see him in matchups. But you're talking about someone with the 27-14 record.
He's been in this spot for a long time. He's been in this spot for a long time.
And up and downs. We kind of know where, you could kind of
play. He's on an up right now, though, so that's good. But it's not a huge up where he's going to get a title shot. It's just, hey, he's won a couple in a row. He's not on a skid. It's sort of his whole career is this very shallow, very low ups and downs, but they're there, and he's on a small up right now.
Yeah, I wonder, like, where's he ranked in featherweight?
He's
I should
number
probably know
9,
that.
I believe.
How many people above him would you think you give him a shot to beat?
Not tons.
Yeah, right.
Just off the top of my head, like Josh Emmett is very confusing as far as who do you pick, just because.
I think he would beat Josh Emmett. I think that was way more fluky than people are giving it credit for.
I would agree. I mean, gun to my head, I'm picking Stephens in that fight, but Emmett in general just kind of tough because we don't know how good he really is, and is he as good?
I think Jeremy Stephens could possibly beat the Korean Zombie, which might be a good matchup for him. I think he could beat Darren Elkins. Yeah. I think he could beat. Do you think he could beat Ricardo Lamas? I bet they fought.
That's tough. That's sort of where Stephens' peak is. Like, he doesn't beat Max Holloway. We've seen that. He doesn't beat Jose Aldo. He doesn't beat Edgar. We've seen that. He doesn't beat Ryan Ortega, I don't think even.
No.
But dare I say it, he's getting better maybe. Like, even though we're saying he's been around for a long time, I feel like he's maybe the best he's ever been.
Yeah,
I want to see him fight Darren Elkins. I know they've done it again, but I really like the Ortega-Emmett fight. And I know some people don't because they're counting Emmett not really as a real win. He missed weight. It was kind of fluky maybe. But I like Ortega-Emmett. And then I think you do. Really? Okay, so maybe for you a better option would be
I'd rather see Ortega-Stephens.
Really?
Yeah, and then see Josh, who's left over there.
Elkins and Emmett, but they train together. So it would, if you're not going to do Ortega Emmett, it has to be Ortega Elkins and Stephens Emmett, which I'm not opposed to. The problem I have with those matchups is I feel Ortega deserves a higher ranked opponent than Elkins, even though Elkins is on a winning streak himself.
I don't know, deserved. You have to use the word deserved, and that upsets me.
Everything upsets you.
That's true. This is facts.
What else do we want to talk about? I don't really care to talk about Jessica Rose Clark's win over Paige Van Zandt all that much.
Tell me how boring that fight was. Fuck that fight. And I know poor Paige broke her arm.
Which we'll talk about a little later.
Oh, God. Boring.
Van Zandt, she just isn't getting better.
Usman, even more boring. Hey, guess what, Kamaru Usman? That wasn't fun. It wasn't fun to watch. And so, no, I don't want to see you fight anybody. And I don't care about your 30%. Take your 30%, add another 30% to it, and bring it somewhere else because I am paying for your 30%, dog. Get the hell out of here. You think you're going to be a pay-per-view star, getting on the microphone talking all that shit. That was ridiculous, dog. That was absurd. That was embarrassing. You should be embarrassed.
Wasn't a good fight. Wasn't the worst fight I've seen, though. I'm
definitely not the worst fight we've ever seen. I've watched a lot of fights here, Nicholas.
I'm sort of in the middle of this. Like, I still like Kamaru Usman as a fighter. I still think he has a lot of potential. Is this the
tons of potential? Performance? That's why I'm upset. What makes me upset is that he can definitely do more shit than that and was on his way and clearly in control of a fight and just chose to kind of like man out. And it's like, you do understand that there's an entertainment component to this whole game, right?
Oh, of course there is.
Then I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to him. I know he's listening personally right now, right this second. So what I'm saying is, I don't know. Give us a little something, man. Give us something.
I think we need to remember that, hey, Usman did strike a bit more or a lot more in his last couple of fights. The Sean Strickland one.
But he didn't want near nothing in the striking against Emil Meek. He was not interested in doing that. You see
Emil Meek throw like at the beginning of every round or something, he would try like a spinning back fist. And it's like, I can understand where Usman is coming from. He wants nothing of Meek on the feet, even though Emil Meek isn't some fantastic striker by any stretch of the imagination. He's dangerous.
Yeah, wait until he fights someone who actually is a fantastic striker.
I know. Yeah,
it's going to be
with Henry Hooft will do magic for him, for Kamaru Usman.
I don't know. Hopefully, you hope, right?
And he's gotten better already. I have to imagine he's on the way up as far as striking goes. Of
course, there's always improvement, but I think there's also a lot of natural aptitude too, and a lot of MMA fans don't want to acknowledge that. There's a natural aptitude. It's not just like, hey, this guy could train this and learn how to do it. It's like, no, there's talent. There's a lot of talent involved in like your level of success when you're at the professional level. It's
like in anything in MMA. I can train jiu-jitsu for 2 years, for 5 years, and I'm not going to be the best jiu-jitsu player on the planet.
Yeah, and some dudes like BJ Penn trained for 6 months in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and then they're winning the fucking Abu Dhabis.
People are more athletic than others. People are born
and just have aptitude towards certain skills, and their personality leads them to like doing other things and being successful at other things different. And I think that's important.
Beings, obviously.
Different strokes, baby. Make different... whatever. Makes the world go round? I can't remember.
I don't know. We're all different.
You've definitely never watched Different Strokes in your life. For sure.
No, never even heard of it. Okay.
What did you think overall about the card? Kind of boring?
Card was okay.
Yeah, right.
It wasn't... I actually only watched the last half.
Wow.
So that was a smart decision, probably.
Bougie ass Nick. Yeah, the only thing you miss is Polo Reyes knocking the fuck out of someone.
I watched in my house, and his post-fight interview was on.
Solid
wow.
KO.
Yeah.
Solid KO.
Yeah. So that's when I started watching. James Krause got a win. Darren Elkins upsets Michael Johnson. I was surprised about that one. But other than that,
quick salute to the damage Darren Elkins just being the goddamn man. That was kind of awesome.
He is the worst good fighter. No, he's the best bad fighter.
He's a throwback fighter. He's one of these dudes who's just so fucking tough that he doesn't give a shit. Yeah. You know?
He's on a streak. He's on a huge streak. Not just his 6 wins, but Mirsad Bektic knocking him out. First loss on his record.
I wrote an article about how Darren Elkins is the best. After Frankie Edgar, he is the best contender for the flyweight title, for the featherweight title.
Yeah.
Don't argue with it. Just go with it. It's already crazy enough premise itself. He has the most impressive win streak without a doubt.
Other than
maybe Brian Ortega,
obviously.
Anyway, all right, cool.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about this
UFC
card anymore. It was all right.
Jessica Evil Eye, congrats to her. Finally off her losing streak.
No, I'm not congratulating that performance. That performance was garbage. You deserve to lose that fight. That was terrible. Your post-fight interview was also terrible. I've been sick all week. I'm sorry that I'm so upset and aggressive, audience, but
it's terrible. Not just your sickness. You usually are this way.
Okay, well, it's good to know.
All right, UFC 220 this Saturday night, TD Garden, Boston, Massachusetts. Hey, I got that right. Don't usually do that.
What do you normally get wrong about Boston, Massachusetts?
Massachusetts. I usually say Massachusetts.
Jesus Christ, there's just no help for you, huh? You're just gonna be fucking broken forever. All right, yep, Massachusetts. Yeah, for sure.
So this is going down in Massachusetts. We have Stipe Miocic versus Francis Ngannou in the UFC heavyweight title main event. We have 2 titles on the line, co-mains, of course. Daniel DC Cormier, Volkan Ozdemir for the light heavyweight title. Baddest man on the planet, co-baddest man on the planet. This is going to be a fun night of fights. Beyond the 2 title fights, let's be honest, this isn't a good pay-per-view card. Some good matchups. I'm actually a big fan of Calvin Kattar and Shane Burgos, and also, of course, Thomas Almeida versus Rob Font. But beyond that, not much is happening on this one.
What the only interesting part about this card is, I think they're hedging towards Daniel Cormier fighting for the heavyweight title, which I think is the only thing to do after he.
Which is a scary thought, I think. But
why?
I think Well, Ngannou or Ngannou Cormier. I think I would pick Ngannou for sure.
I wouldn't.
Cormier Stipe, I think it's closer, but
I think that DC can wrestle and beat them both.
Really?
Yes.
Maybe.
DC without a weight cut, let him bulk up, let him just get jacked as fuck.
Maybe.
Remember when he was fucking ragdoll Josh
I
Burnett,
can't say it's
picking
just
him up like a big old sack of potatoes and shit? It was a beautiful thing.
I mean, Cormier would definitely give them both fights, but I don't know if he would come out on top. But let's not necessarily delve into that all too much. We still have to see the three of them fight and see
what do you want to talk about in this card besides the main events? Do you want to start at the main events and work our way down and see if there's anything worth talking about down there? The return of Gleison Tebow is what I'm most excited about.
I was actually going to mention, I was like, Gleison Tebow is coming back. Hurrah.
You know what Gleison Tebow, Mark. I love Gleison Tebow. There's nothing.
He's fighting Islam Makhachev, and that's a tough one.
I'm telling you, Islam Makhachev don't know what he's getting himself into. He's about to lose those first 2 rounds, win the third, think he won the fight. Nope, lose the unanimous decision. Because that's how my boy Gleison Tebow does it. And you know what? If Gleison Tebow stopped doing steroids, if they got him off the juice, that should be illegal.
Well, if Tebow was on
Gleison Tebow should only be allowed to be on the juice
for this fight, always be allowed. Then I'm probably picking him, but he's probably not.
He's the favorite. He's the betting favorite if the juice is back.
If the juice is back.
I know he's not the real betting favorite, Nicholas. Come on. We're talking in the hypothetical world that I want to live in, where we're allowed to give Gleison Tebow as much PEDs as he wants.
I just want to give a quick shout out to Matt Bassett. He's in the featured Fight Pass early prelim against Enrique Barzola, stepping up on short notice. CES featherweight champion, veteran. I talked to him yesterday. He's coming on a week's notice, and tough fight for him. Probably, Barzola will give. I mean, Bassett will give him a good fight, but Barzola is a deserving favorite. But I'm looking.
What's Barzola coming off of, losing to Sage?
No.
Or did I just invent that in my head?
You totally just put every tough Latin America fighter into one pool and call them the same person.
You know that I really did that. You know that I've done that really in real life. I've confused all the tough Latin American fighters.
Sage Northcutt is coming off a win over
Gabriel Benitez.
Marin. I think it's Enrique Marin. But
Enrique Marin, Gabriel Benitez, Enrique Barzola, all the same people in Andrew's world,
So this is not a Sage Northcutt victim. This is actually a guy with a lot of potential. 14-3-1, getting better. He just beat guy you just mentioned, striker Benitez.
Oh, okay. Well, it was probably on like the prelim of some pay-per-view that I forgot about.
That seems.
Oh my God, accurate. Barzola beat up poor Chris Avila.
Yep, he did.
Or Chris Avila. Jeez.
Yeah, you called it right. Benitez versus Barzola was UFC 211 May of last year on the prelims.
Yeah, come on, man. That's not like even a prediction or remembering. That's just a very educated guess.
Yeah. I know. I don't think we need to talk much more than the main and co-main.
Okay, we've given our.
We also have Bellator coming up too.
We've given our prerequisite tip of the cap to Gleison Tebow. Our condolences to Islam.
Yeah, I don't know. Dustin Ortiz.
Shout out to the CES vets out there. Justin Ortiz is on here fighting. Is this guy making his debut?
Bassett?
No, I'm talking about the guy Dustin Ortiz is fighting.
Oh, no, you know Pantoja, don't you?
I don't know, man. There's a lot of fights that happen nowadays.
I know.
What would I know him from?
He was on Tough, the DJ season.
Name something cool that he's done.
Well, okay, cool? I mean, that's tough. He just choked out Neil Seery.
Count? He's that dude. Oh, okay. See, that's
Eric
cool.
Shelton. He was on Ultimate Fighter. Not cool, but
you see, when you're like, "Hey, you choked out Neil Seery," then I'm like, "Oh shit, I kind of remember you now." That's the problem. He's one of these Brazilians who's in Nova União, so like they're all once again. I've kind of rolled all of them into one human being as well.
Yeah, fair enough.
Sorry, the other merge eventually. Keep doing cool stuff, and I'll remember who you are. I know who, Henan Brow is. It only took him winning the title and defending it like 4 times until I figured him out. But yeah, I'll learn.
True enough. Okay.
Oh, Thomas Almeida's fighting Rob Font. That's gonna be fun.
That's fun. And then again, Burgos. You know Shane Burgos, right?
I know Shane Burgos. Yeah. I mean, the brain hasn't deteriorated that badly.
I don't know, but But him
Undefeated
versus
Shane Burgos.
Calvin Cater's the guy who beat Andre Fili. Pretty big upset.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah. He's a Boston kid, isn't he? The Calvin Qatar?
Yep.
Yeah. So, a little bit of a soft spot for our Boston boy. And
You
he's
have
getting a little
bunch
hometown love.
of Sit-Yadon guys. You're familiar with that gym, I would assume.
Yeah, with oh God, I can't remember his name. I really am ill.
The guy from the movie.
The guy from the movie. he's a super well accomplished Muay Thai fighter himself, trainer to like major MMA
Mark
figures.
Pellegrati,
thank you. Who are like, yeah, the guy from the movie. The one with Kevin James in it.
I think he has Cater, he has Rob Font, he has Botniak, and he has someone else. Maybe that's it.
Well, that's still a heavy night for still a heavy night from the boys from Boston. So let's hope they're at least somewhat successful. Hey, John Vellante is fighting Francis Barrosa in a contest of who could be worse.
That's going to be happening around the same time as McDonald's versus Lima, and I am so happy about that. I'm thrilled that I can watch a great welterweight fight, one of the best right now we've seen in a while, instead of Bahoz grinding on Vellante or Vellante tired, wailing shots and knocking the guy out.
Or like very, very well possibly getting knocked out in the third round by someone who's only ever ground people out to win a fight.
You're talking Bahoz?
No, I'm saying like Burroughs could knock John Vellante out in the third round. If someone told me that happened, I wouldn't be shocked at all. And then they'd be like, "Do you want to see it?" And I'd be like, "No, I'm still good. I'm still okay."
Yeah, because then the first two rounds are terrible.
Yeah. But you know what? If John Vellante does get knocked out, he's gonna like lose some teeth or like some gross shit's gonna happen. So I'll be there on Middle Easy covering whatever weird injury John Vellante gets.
Yeah. Alrighty. Let's talk about the co-main event.
Let's.
Daniel Cormier, how much do you think the John Jones fight, not mentally or anything, but just physically, not skills even, because he's still a very talented fighter. He still can punch. He can still take people down. He can still grapple. But as far as has he gone down, do we see a decline of DC starting this weekend, or is he good to go for the Volkan fight, do you think?
See, he may be on the decline. We just won't know because I really do think the Volkan Ozdemir is like some second tier fighting. He's on a beautiful streak, and I don't want to take too much away from him, but like, and we haven't really seen anything from him. As much as you're like, oh, he's knocked this dude out, he's knocked this dude out, he's knocked this dude out. Well, it doesn't like really show you anything about his skill set. It doesn't really show you anything about like what a person's capable of doing in the ring. I think this is going to be a rude awakening. I think that DC is going to smash him, and it's going to be such a disparity of skills that we won't be able to tell if DC's lost a step. We won't be able to tell. If this fight is in any way competitive, I think it'll be very indicative. Not that Ozdemir was surprisingly good, but that DC, the years have finally caught up with him. I mean, God, is DC 40 by now? It seems like DC's very, very old.
39 or 40? No, yeah, one of the two.
Yeah.
39, I think.
Well, he's probably about to be 39 or something like that. I don't
38. March 20th is his birthday.
Okay. So almost 39. He'll be fighting Stipe Miocic for the heavyweight title when he's 39 at the end of the year. Yeah, so I don't know. It's a very good question. Is DC declining? That decline's eventual. It's going to happen. And I think it's going to be real when it does. And it's going to be a lot sharper than people are going to give him credit for. But this isn't the fight to determine it. I think that he steamrolls poor Wizard of Ozdemir.
Yeah, we've seen in the past where a brutal loss will change you forever. Henan Brow, he got knocked out by TJ Dillashaw round number 5 after getting battered for the first 20 minutes, and he's never looked the same. Not even close. He went from near pound-for-pound king to losing to or being paired up against Brian Kelleher in 4 years or something like that. Less than 4 years. We saw Anthony Pettis.
And by the way, I think Brian Kelleher is going to destroy him.
I think there's a chance of that, honestly, which is
so. Yeah, crazy.
Really bad. But we saw Pettis, and I like to bring up Burrell and Pettis. I think they're the most obvious thing or choices with these. We saw Pettis get beat up by RDA for 5 rounds, and he's never looked the same. And that could be the same. We could see that from DC. I don't think we will, but that's just speculation. We have no way of knowing whether or not the decline will start now or not. It will start eventually. It just comes down to, does it start now? We'll certainly know if
DC have an official loss on his record. Yeah, the first Jones didn't. Yeah, the first Jones wasn't ever overturned for anything, right?
Because it was just cocaine, not steroids. Just cocaine.
Just cocaine, baby. Can't get the no contest on coke. I love it.
Oh man.
Isn't that weird though? Like the one no contest, or like, you know, it's not even a loss in his career, but it's the most earth-changing thing for poor Daniel Cormier. You know.
It's true. So if we see a big decline, not going to be shocked. He's 38, almost 39.
But here, even with the big
decline, the thing is, he just got knocked out for the first time. It's not like he's been knocked out before. We've never seen him fight off a knockout loss. So,
but we've seen DC take shots, like fucking heavyweight shots, huge punches to the face. Anthony Johnson cracked him with the fucking vicious.
The chin's getting worse, perhaps. This could just be evidence of that.
Remember, Gustafsson beat the fuck out of him a little bit. So, you know, maybe Ozdemir is the benefactor of all of that. It could happen.
Ozdemir has magic.
I don't think so.
I don't know how the hell he does it, but he has
I don't think
something in his gloves. But I don't think it's happening. I think this will be a grinding affair from DC. Daniel Cormier decision. I think there's a chance Ozdemir squeaks in a round or two, just if he's able to keep it standing, or if DC is okay with it standing. I know DC says he'll strike with Ozdemir a little bit, but eventually he's going to find his way on top and be able to put the...
I believe him. DC, that's DC's fighting style. He's not like this wrestle first guy. He likes to go in there, and he likes to do his little awkward boxing shuffle style that he has. And then as soon as like things get into clinch, he has great trip work. He has awesome over-unders. He can get you up and off the cage. If he drops his level, you're basically done. I think we're about to see Volkan Ozdemir get fucked up.
Yep. All right. Main event time. The last one for the UFC 220 card. We have UFC Heavyweight Championship on the line. Stipe Miocic taking on Francis Ngannou. Again, baddest man on the title, or on the planet title, is on the line. Best heavyweight title fight in a long time. A lot of people are saying best since Kane, JDS. I mean, it's hard to remember what has happened and everything that has happened.
What is the UFC Heavyweight Championship? No one knows.
Just old guys beating other old guys up. But there's a chance. I mean, Miocic is not young, or he's not old, but this could be a big turning point as far as, I mean, Ngannou is what, 28 maybe, 29?
No, he's much older because he didn't get into fighting until he was older. I think this is what I think. I think that he is 31, and I'm gonna guess that Stipe Miocic is 35. I
already looked up Ngannou's, and you were bang on. He's 31. I'm going to say Miocic is 34. He is 35.
You know, I remember that, and I think I know that because I watched that awesome documentary. It was in French, so you had to read the subtitles. But it was on Francis Ngannou's life, and like he worked in a salt mine and all this crazy shit, and like him being homeless in Paris, and it goes through like the whole story of his life. Wild as fuck. The dude didn't even box until he was like 25 or 26. And like one guy saw him and was just like, "Oh no, you're a fucking freak. Like, yeah, we want to train you. It's all good." And it's like, "Oh, you don't have money? Here's boxing gloves. Here's some shit." Like, and then the MMA Factory dude in Paris found him and was just like, "Oh no, you're not doing that boxing shit. We're gonna get you money." Because in boxing, it's impossible to get paid, especially some freakish, you know, athlete like Francis Ngannou shows up. Like, how you ever gonna get a fight? You know, everyone's gonna protect their person against a guy like you. So he's like, "No, in MMA, like, they'll let you murder people for money." And he was like, "Oh, I like money. Give me that." And yeah, so dude just got himself paid by slamming people. And then he was like, "Oh, maybe I'll actually do this professionally." Like after he was like 6-0, you know, unbelievable stuff.
Even though Ngannou is in his 30s already, this could still be sort of, and Miocic is an old generation heavyweight, not really even close, but it's still a turning of sort of the...
It is a turning of the page, right? Because I considered Stipe to be the newest young champion, and I was like, who's ever going to beat him? Because everyone else is from that earlier generation. And once again, it's not so much the age. It's, you know, it's not the miles, it's the tread.
Yeah.
So, you know, Stipe represented the new generation of heavyweights. The problem is he didn't come in with anyone else who's like at his level. So his generation that came in, and I don't know, I'd throw in maybe like Curtis Blades into that generation.
Well, Blades is more in Ngannou's generation.
Yeah, a little bit younger, but yeah, I consider them in the same generation, Stipe and Ngannou.
I don't.
Well, they're the same. I mean, now they're peers. They're literally fighting each other for the title, so they have to be a little bit.
That doesn't mean Arlovsky and Junior Albini are in the same tiers.
God damn it! That the fact that Andre Arlovsky fought Junior Albini shouldn't have happened.
Yeah, I know.
It shouldn't have ever happened.
And he shouldn't have won either. But basically my thing is with Ngannou is that I saw his UFC debut live. That is when you know you're a new generation fighter.
Yeah, absolutely. If Nick knows your entire UFC career, you are officially new gen.
And we say that.
Do you remember Stipe Miocic fighting against Stefan Struve?
No, the first Miocic fight was Gabriel Gonzaga in 2014.
That's hilarious.
Was that Winnipeg? I didn't even see that one.
Oh, that's hilarious. Okay, so what was that? When he fought Gabriel Gonzaga, like what?
It was like a co-main of a fight night.
The co-main.
Something like I've seen the rise of Stipe, but I haven't seen him from the very beginning like I have with Ngannou.
Well, because I remember there was a lot of hype around Stipe, just because, you know, anytime there's any athletic-looking heavyweight, people are like, oh, hold on, like, stop the fucking presses. This guy's a heavyweight, and he can actually move without, you know, tiring out and losing his breath. And I think he knocked 2 dudes out, and then they made him fight Stefan Struve in fucking the Netherlands somewhere. Something weird like that. It was on Fuel TV. I will never forget that it was on Fuel TV because maybe there's 6 shows ever on Fuel TV. And Stefan Struve, all of a sudden in the middle of like the second round, realized that he was 10,000 feet tall and that he could just pump a jab and there's nothing Stipe could do about it. And eventually he TKO'd him by just like, you know, accumulation of damage. It was weird. It was a fucking weird fight.
It is funny seeing champions or current champions like go back to their early losses, and it's like, man, this would be different if it was 2018.
Oh, it would be unconscionable right now to put Stefan Struve in the ring with Stipe Miocic. He may murder the man. Oh, by the way, Stefan Struve then follows up from that loss against, or rather, Stipe follows up with the loss against Struve. It fights Roy Nelson, who's on a winning streak and is about to get his contract renewed. Gamble says, I'm going to fight Stipe, and Stipe boxes his fucking face up for like...
And it was in Winnipeg.
Oh, and you didn't see that. Okay.
No.
But that was actually crazy to see because people, you know, Roy had a lot of hype against him. And everyone was like, this guy just lost to Stefan Struve. He's nobody. And I was like, oh, I think I cashed that bet. I think he was the underdog.
That might have been the last Stipe fight I didn't see. Maybe I'll see.
That makes sense.
One after.
Because then he beat the fuck out of Gonzaga. Yep, then he knocked the fuck out of Fabio because no one wanted to fight him. And someone pulled out of that fight. JDS, of course.
Yep.
Then he loses that fight to JDS in that epic war that they had. That was on Fox.
I picked Miocic in that one.
Yeah, you should have. I thought that made sense, man. It was not a bad call.
At the time, not a lot of people did.
Really? I guess maybe that's right. He's probably he might have been an underdog at that fight. He might have been a big underdog.
He was, yeah.
How much of an underdog? Do you have the numbers in front of you?
No, but probably 2.5 to 1, I would think.
Okay. And then he beats Mark Hunt, beats Arlovsky, beats Verdum for the title. Was that for the title? Yeah. And then, Reem, JDS, rematch. And here we are now, baby. What do you think happens here? Who do you got?
I'm going Francis Ngannou.
Ooh, I'm going Stipe Miocic.
Wow. Okay, by the way, closing, Stipe was a plus 300 favorite.
Holy shit.
Underdog.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was
that's some good money. Man,
but he didn't win, so
Oh yeah, that's so true. See, that's the problem with having like a suspect memory. If I ever went back in time to bet fights, I'd be like, yo, Stipe Miocic is a plus 300. He becomes the champion, of course. We're gonna make all this money, guys. I'm like, yeah, you forgot that was his last loss before he went on the win streak. Oh, yeah. Poor time traveling Andrew. He's broke.
Okay, so I'm going to Ngannou here. Basically, based off the fact that this guy doesn't care. This guy goes in there and murks everybody. I believe in Francis Ngannou until I see he can lose. At least in the UFC, he has the one.
I think Stipe's going to wrestle him. And ain't no one seen Francis wrestle. He's going to get taken down, and then he's going to look like a fish out of water, and everyone's going to feel like a fucking moron. So I threw a little bit of dough on Stipe, not too much, but just a little sprinklage. Because let's be honest, Francis Ngannou is the scariest person alive.
Like
the scariest person alive.
Didn't you go overkill on Cyborg versus In the Distance a few weeks back?
Yeah, fuck me. Thanks for reminding me, you jackass.
Basically,
remember that time? Remember that time you bet a shitload of money on something that didn't fucking happen? Yeah, you fucking moron. Good work.
No, you'll thank me when you.
That much. I didn't bet too much. I'm fine.
Tomorrow or the next day, you're going to be on your betting website and have the money entered in for Miocic, and you're going to think back to this conversation and go back. So,
listen. At the end of the year, I got reckless, but my biggest bet of the year ended up being on Marlon Moraes against Aljamain Sterling, and that one worked out. That's all that mattered.
The leg kicks didn't work out.
Yeah. So, everything this year started off a little rough. I made a pretty decent-sized bet on Paige Van Zandt for some godly knows reason. I don't know. We learned our lesson there. We're moving on.
There's an okay chance she could have won that fight if she didn't break her arm.
Well, let's be honest. That bitch didn't do... excuse my language. That other girl didn't do anything with her top position. It was awful. It was awful. The fact that is when a ref needs to get in there and stand fighters up, right? She just took top position and literally locked her down. I've been in it. I've done that when I've grappled and done Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. When you're tired as fuck. And just by some luck or someone pulls guard and you're like, God, I'm going to accept half guard here and I'm going to clamp down and I'm going to get my breath back because I'm tired as hell. So
you're going Miocic versus Ngannou, or?
Yeah, I'm going Miocic, baby. All okay. Miocic.
Well, we will differ. Anybody picking Ngannou knows why I'm picking Ngannou or why they're picking Ngannou. It's because we think he's going to knock Stipe out, and I see it happening. Could Miocic wrestle? Absolutely. Have we seen Ngannou off his back? Not really. I think he got taken down in his first UFC fight against God knows who, Henrique da Silva, the heavyweight. And so if you're getting taken down by him, you're getting taken down by Stipe too, but also that was just over 2 years ago. So,
see, I have to, if I were to guess who Francis Ngannou fought his first UFC fight against, I would have guessed Curtis Blades. I don't know why, but it just seems like a person who would be the first person for him to have fought.
Yeah, I remember
Curtis Blades. Did he ever fight Curtis Blades?
Oh yeah, Dr. Stoppage.
He knocked him out.
Dr. Stoppage.
Okay, yeah, no, not shocked. Once again, not shocked.
The only fight in Ngannou's UFC career that wasn't like a flat out KO/TKO.
Oh yeah, could you imagine being some dude on the regional scene who like accidentally, or your like coaches advise you to accept a fight against Francis Ngannou, and then he just murders you?
That'd be not great.
Yeah, less than ideal. So, what are you more excited for? The one you got to pay $60 for, UFC 220, or good old Bellator 192 on Spike TV? Excuse me, on the Paramount Network. It doesn't matter to you because you're Canadian. It's probably on fucking Fight Network or
Spike channel. No, it's Spike.
Oh, it's Spike. Well, it's not Spike anymore, motherfucker. Oh, look at you, Nicholas. You just dropped out of the feed. Okay, we'll wait until Nicholas gets back here before we break down Bellator 192 so much. But just what an embarrassment this poor Canadian schmuck is. You did that yourself. Don't act like that was the internet dropping out. You clicked out. I watched you fucking click out, you Momo. You Momo. God. You are not even 20, and your technological ineptitude is very high.
I've heard that before.
Yeah. So I just kind of was telling the people a little bit about Bellator 192. Some things to look for. It's a Bellator prelim card. Let's be real.
As I clicked the X, you were asking what am I more excited for? Well, my excitement level for the 2 title fights in the UFC is higher than anything, even though Rory Lima is fantastic.
It's kind of fire.
The $60 versus $0 doesn't help, and let's be honest, as far as the standards for a UFC pay-per-view and the standards for a Bellator regular event, Bellator is a better card. Bellator is deeper.
Ooh. Bellator's deeper. Okay, so what do we have going for in the Bellator? Because we're talking about Bellator main card. Let's be real. No one knows what the fuck's happening on the Bellator.
I don't care about the prelims. No,
no one ever did. No one ever has. You got your boy Aaron Pico.
Yes.
What do you think about your boy Aaron Pico? 1-1 Aaron Pico. Sexy as fuck Aaron Pico. He's fighting a guy by the name of Shane Churchton? Whatever, man. I'm going to call him Churchton. You call him Cruxton? Whatever you want to say. His nickname, is a pretty sweet nickname. You ready for it? The War Rhino.
Yep.
I hope that he beats Aaron Pico based on nickname alone.
Because Aaron Pico doesn't have one, I don't think.
Aaron Pico doesn't have a nickname? What?
And if he does, it's probably not as good as the War Rhino.
What a fucking mistake that is. Aaron Pico, get your ass a nickname immediately.
I personally think Shane has a very good chance here.
Why? Where do you know him from?
Well, I've interviewed him twice. He fought on the end of 2016 New Year's Eve MSG WSOF card.
Okay.
He was in that veterans match. He's a veteran, not MMA veteran, like a real veteran. And he did fought another veteran. And so that's something that happened.
Not like I've been shot before, veteran, but like fought a dude in a cage before.
Dan Henderson is one type of veteran. Shane Crutchton is the other.
Okay. I'm confused on who's who, but anyway, keep going.
That's fine. But Crutchton hasn't fought since December 31st, 2016, because PFL WSOF didn't give him a fight. You know how they had 3 cards last year. He didn't make the cut, I guess, and so the layoffs.
Bellator is setting up Aaron Pico to knock this dude out, and that makes me feel sad. But if it's a pretty sweet knockout like the one before was, I ain't so mad.
But what Crutchton told me is smart. Fighters can say things and not follow up doing it in the cage. It's completely different, but he plans to not give Pico respect. He said the last guy who got, highly to real KO by Pico gave him way too much respect. That is not going to be me. He compares himself to the guy who beat Pico, Zach Freeman. They're both grapplers. They're both getting better on the feet. Crutchton is 12-3. Like, he's not a joke fighter. He's a decent fighter.
You can't be a joke fighter if you've won 12 fights, you know? What kind of what scene did he come in? Is he like is he from New England? Is he from like the Tachi Palace scene? Is he from the Midwest scene?
I don't know really.
Well, he's fighting at WSOF. Do you have any idea before that who he's fighting?
Let me I'm gonna try.
I got a good idea out of like the things. I could actually use my computer that's literally broadcasting this show at one time ever, but I won't.
He's done just looking at his record, the most fights he's had
before WSOF.
Explode Fight Series.
Oh, that's California. If I'm not
mistaken. He's a California guy, and Gladiator Challenge, which is also California.
Yeah, so he came up in the Cali scene. They usually means like it's a competitive scene. Not too many squash matches happen there. Squash matches
fought for 11 years.
Explode though. Explode was a squash match kind of place for a while. You can definitely go there and get your record up. You know what I mean?
Pico made his debut last year. Crutchton has been fighting for 11 years. Professionally.
How old's Crutchton?
Like 32, 33, I think.
Oh,
33.
Okay.
33.
That ain't so bad. Well, you know what? Here, this is a great platform for you, dude. I hope he goes up there. I hope it's at least a squabble. I hope it's a great fight, but Aaron Pico's going to get a highlight.
Yep. Henry Corrales, Georgia Care Canyons, surprisingly fun.
Georgia Care Canyon. Okay. That was not a name I expected. I know that I'm supposed to know what's happening in Bellator, but I don't know what's happening in Bellator.
That's fine. Michael Chandler, Goto Yamauchi. That's actually kind of interesting. Kind of weird. Hey. Left field, but it's interesting.
That's almost like a matchup you think about on a Risen card. Jeez, man. That's
just a matchup that shouldn't happen. Fun. I mean, it's weird because the winner of this, according to Scott Coker, who I trust more than Dana White, as far as lying versus not lying about who gets the next title shot and things like that, the winner of this is going to get Brent Primus. the lightweight champion of Bellator. So
what the fuck's up with Michael Chandler not fighting Brett Primus in a rematch? That seems like the stupidest thing in the fucking world, right? Bellator, really what the fuck? And then Michael Chandler talking about how he doesn't want the fight or doesn't need the fight, and I'm like, I think you need the fight, dude. What the fuck are you babbling about? Anyway,
I think the story there is that this is Chandler's last fight on his record or on his deal with Bellator, and so I know because I interviewed Primus a month or so ago, and he threw out the idea maybe Chandler wants to go to the UFC, so he doesn't want to get locked in as a Bellator champion, and then so possible.
Ooh, I like it. I like the conspiracy
a lot of money to fight for the title, I think.
Yeah. So what's up, Yamuchi? I remember he beat Ryan Couture. That's probably like the last thing that I actually
He beat a good fighter in his last fight. He beat Adam Piccolotti.
Oh shit! I remember that fight. Yeah, that was that ended in a cool submission. That was like a little funky little submission victory. Because I remember someone was like, "Hey man, did you watch Bellator?" And I was like, "Fuck no." And then they were like, "You should watch this cool little submission that happened." And I was like, "Oh shit! Look at
one thing on the Bellator prelims. Do you remember Chad George? He fought for WEC.
No. You
never watched EBI, right? Eddie Bravo Invitational.
Hardly ever, dog. If something cool happens, I'll watch a clip.
Right. So Chad George, he's WEC vet. He's had like 24 fights or something. He's been around for a while. He hasn't fought in MMA in 3 years. He's coming back on this card, so 2.5, 3-year layoff. But since then, he's done a bunch of stuff at EBI, and he actually won Combat Jiu-Jitsu Worlds in November.
Oh, wow.
So he's like a legit grappler. So I'm interested to see how he's evolved as an MMA fighter in these 3 years.
What would I know that he did back in the day in the WEC
he fought
days?
Scotty Jorgensen.
Oh, okay.
I don't think he won that fight.
I would have remembered something like that. That's like something that probably would have.
He fought Joe Soto at
Scotty Jorgensen. That means you fought in the main card after that. Eventually, in the WEC days, usually. So he's just kind of like a WEC prelim guy.
He has 2 fights in WEC and he lost both of them. So no, he's 1 and 2 actually. He fought Joe Soto, Tachi Palace. I mean, he's not a great
Joe Soto in the Tachi Palace fights. I like him already, man. Any Tachi veteran is a fan of mine.
Tachi's a good promotion, actually. People don't pay attention to it, but it's not bad.
Well, because it's always like super small dudes, and it's happening in some weird California.
It's happening Thursday too, all the time.
Yeah, it's fucking But you see some fun, weird shit happen on it, and that's the most important thing in all of MMA.
The real co-main event: Rampage Jackson, Chael Sonnen. The real main event: Douglas Lima, Roy McDonald.
We reverse them.
Rampage Sonnen's. I don't like it. I don't think it's a good fight.
You don't like Rampage against Chael?
Not really.
If these two guys have to fight, are you mad at them fighting each other?
No.
I mean, that's what's happening.
What do you mean mad at them fighting? Like, am I mad?
Are you like, damn, Chael Sonnen should be fighting? Who cares who Chael Sonnen's fighting? Oh, Quentin Rampage Jackson? That makes a hell of a lot of sense to me.
Well, I would have preferred Chael versus Fedor, honestly.
Oh, geez, that would have been funner, wouldn't it? Because he said all those funny things about him and like was talking about like.
And I guess you could have also done Rampage versus Mir instead and just flip that. I mean, Rampage.
My shoe. I could talk to this shoe. Or was he talking about Wanderlei Silva when he was talking about the shoe?
I don't remember. Probably.
It's so ridiculous. So are you tired of the Chael Sonnen shtick, or
I'm not tired of it. I just stylistically, I don't think this will actually be that fun.
Yeah, I think it'll be a little boring as hell because Chael Sonnen's going to try to take him down, and Quentin Rampage is going to go, "Are you hugging me? Humping my leg, I'll fight. That ain't real fighting, dog. Got to throw these bungalows." There's a bad Quentin Rampage impression, but
that's kind of how I see it going down. Who are you picking though in that one? I'm probably going to Rampage, but it kind of is a toss-up.
I don't know. I'm actually going to pick Chael Sonnen. I'm going to think that Quentin Rampage Jackson's knees are shot to shit. Hold on, they could do steroids, right? Ooh, but it's in California, so not like really good steroids, but like steroids that like kind of clear out your system. Quentin Rampage's knees are shot. Chael Sonnen still got a double leg. I think that it ends with me asleep by the second round.
Fair enough.
Okay. Oh no! I'm watching UFC during this, aren't I?
You are a good point.
I'll get the 2 screens popping up. What are we doing? Come on. We got technology.
Okay, last one. Roy McDonald, Douglas Lima. Welterweight titles on the line. Lima's the champion. McDonald's the challenger. This is a legit fight. This is awesome. This
is great. This is what you've always hoped that Bellator might want to do at some point, which is make real fights that are actually interesting. God damn it. Everything about me, you know what? If we had maybe even like a year ago told me about this fight, I'd be like, Roy McDonald steamrolls the fuck out of Douglas Lima. Just absolutely destroys him and mauls him. Now, for whatever reason, there's questions in my brain. And it's not so much on what Roy brings to the table, but I think that Douglas Lima is a lot better than I ever gave him credit for. I think him beating Koreshkov more than beating Larkin kind of sparked it in my brain, like, hey, maybe this dude's really fucking good, right? Because he had lost that decision to Koreshkov. And honestly, watching that fight, I was like, damn, why am I watching this fight? That rematch, he was like inspired. It was inspirational. I felt inspired. I was like, damn, I should watch more Bellator. That's what I walked away saying. I was like, damn, I should watch more fucking Bellator. Then he goes out there and kind of wipes the floor with Lorenz Larkin, kind of like wipes the floor with him. That was kind of fun. So I still think Roy McDonald gets this done, but I'm apprehensive.
Having hesitation. Yeah, I'm sort of in the same boat. I'm picking Roy McDonald. I think he's a bit more well-rounded than Lima, but if Lima goes out there and breaks his nose and knocks him out, won't be that shocked. I see a lot of people picking Douglas Lima. I see where they're coming from. The guy is underrated. The guy does not get as much, nearly as much respect as he deserves. He is one of the best 170-pounders on the planet. People just don't say it because he's Bellator, because he's a Bellator fighter. And we have this idea that a Bellator fighter, a fighter in Bellator can't be one of the better fighters in the world. And that's not true whatsoever. Douglas Lima, Michael Chandler, even throwing Darian Caldwell, like these are all top talent. I think Lima maybe more than the others. He's probably top 5 at welterweight in the world. And
real quick game before we move on and start doing, doesn't get it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna run down some ranked people in the UFC. You tell me if you think Douglas Lima has more than a 40% chance of beating him.
Well, let's just go 50.
Fine, more than 50% chance of beating him. Tyron Woodley.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? He could beat Tyron Woodley. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. I think it's a bad style matchup for him.
Yeah, I'm going to say no.
RDA. Rafael Dos Anjos.
He has a decent chance, yeah.
I think he beats RDA. That pressure style already. Anyway. Robbie Lawler.
At this point, yeah.
Beats Robbie Lawler. Kobe Covington.
Oh, obviously.
Do you know Kobe Covington's nickname is Chaos?
Oh,
God, can we delete Kobe Covington? Damian Maia. I don't know that.
I don't know.
That backpack game. That backpack game. You never know. He rides you like a backpack. Jorge Masvidal, Game Bread.
Yeah.
I think Game Bread gets him, but it could be a fun fight. Darren Till.
Darren Till might have a great 2018, and it's hard to say where Darren Till really is right now. It's a close one though, as it stands.
I don't know. Darren Till's got to fight some real people. I know that Cowboy loss is everyone fucking foaming at loss. I think it was a win. I think that Cowboy win has everyone like foaming at the mouth, but everyone needs to just like slow their roll down a little bit. It's like Cowboy Sonnen is a little shot, and he should never have fought at 170 pounds ever. Neil Magny, I think he wipes the floor with Neil Magny.
After this, we're looking at pretty much all Lima wins.
The last one I want to mention, or the last two I want to mention is
Usman and someone else.
Yep, Usman. I think he could. It's an interesting fight.
Yeah.
And then Ponzi scheme, Santiago Ponzinibbio.
Another interesting one. I would probably Lima.
I would give it to Lima, baby. So like we literally just made him like what, the third, fourth best.
Yeah. We said Wonderboy beats him, and that's about it.
That's the only one that we were kind of like, hey, that might be a bad matchup for him. So like Douglas Lima's a really fucking good fighter. Douglas Lima may be the best Bellator product. Has he only ever fought Bellator? I'm gonna try to rack my brain here, but not only, but you know what I mean. He's never like fucked around with the UFC.
No.
He's never like,
He's a Bellator guy.
He's a Bellator product. He's probably the best Bellator guy.
Yeah. But Rory's not a great style matchup for him.
Not a great one. Rory does a lot of things good. And let's not forget, like, Rory kind of wiped the floor with Tyron Woodley. You know?
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Just, like, embarrassed him, in my opinion.
Not literally, but figuratively.
Yeah, yeah. That, to me, was, like, levels. And it was like, Tyron, you don't have the skills.
Woodley is better than then. That was almost 4 years ago, but...
I don't think he's much better.
I think that
Rory had that setback with the broken nose and then fighting immediately after the broken nose, which is ill-advised.
Since that fight, Rory has slightly gone down. Woodley has gone up by quite a bit, I think. But I'm still favoring Rory if they fight tomorrow.
Damn. You know, if Rory was the Bellator champion and just by, like... Can we just make MMA great again and have fucking the Bellator champion, Rory McDonald, and Tyron Woodley, the UFC champion, fight? That would make some fucking money, right?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, I want this. Why can't we have good things anymore in the sport? I'll tell you why. Because Lorenzo fucking Fertitta sold the company to a bunch of corporate schmucks. Now we're stuck with fake-ass corporate MMA, and I don't want to stand for it anymore, Nicholas. You ready for Gets It Doesn't Get It?
I'm ready.
All right, you got to read them because I didn't write them down.
All right. Well, Gets It Doesn't Get It. We start with the UFC. More times than often than usual.
We always start with the UFC. You got to be more specific.
Doesn't get it, but for this one, I think we're both going differently. The UFC put on a fantastic tribute video package, whatever you want to call it, for Matt Hughes, former UFC welterweight champion, Hall of Famer, one of the best to ever do it at 170 pounds. He, of course, was in a really terrible accident. He was driving in a truck, I believe, and he was hit by a train. Luckily, amazingly, he recovered. He is not at full health. He, as he walked up to the cage to sit octagon side with Dana White on Sunday at Stevens Choi card, he had a visible limp, but he was able to walk up by himself. And I think this whole moment was fantastic. UFC doesn't do things like this enough. A lot of people got very emotional, and it was a great moment. So UFC definitely gets it for this one, but I guess you could say they don't get it for not doing it enough.
Yeah, no, UFC gets it. It was a nice gesture. It was the right kind of venue to do it at. It was the right kind of event. I think they did just enough. Like, they just had him walk out and then, like, sit in his normal spot where he'd watch the Braves game or whatever the hell he would do when he sat cage side. It's a delicate issue a little bit because while the guy has recovered and it's a miraculous story, there's still, like, his fighter pride involved, and he probably still feels like, that he isn't fully himself yet. So, it was a touching moment, and I think that every once in a while the UFC manages to shock even me with, like, their ability to
do right things.
Yeah, and just, like, do it in, like, a subtle, classy way, and you're like, holy fucking shit, that was a class act move. And this is one of those times. So hats off to the boys. I wouldn't be shocked if that was even Dana White thinking of doing that and making that effort. That's the kind of thing he could do on occasion. Every once in a blue moon, right?
Now it's going to be Chuck Liddell because both Hughes and Chuck got fired as from their, like, do-nothing jobs at the UFC that they'd supposedly have forever. And so this was
all they need is Chuck to get hit by a train.
Why even say that? Although one more thing I want to say, this will sound kind of bad, not nearly as bad as what Andrew just said, but I couldn't help but think that if this was at a Bellator card, Matt Hughes would be on his way to fight in his return.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, right. Have him in a fucking Valley Tudo shorts, like, fighting some other guy who was paralyzed from the neck down. It was terrible shit.
All right.
Next good Lord. Please, let's move on before everyone gets mad at us.
Yeah, no kidding. Bellator for swapping Lima McDonald for Sonnen Rampage. Now, Sonnen Rampage, they're calling it double main event. I don't give a crap about that.
Ain't no such thing.
The last fight is the main event. That will be Sonnen Rampage instead of Lima McDonald, which is now the co-main event / other main event. Gets it, doesn't get it.
Gets it. Chael Sonnen and Quentin Rampage Jackson are both individually responsible for the highest rated Bellator shows of all time. They are in a constant battle for ratings so that they can keep their budget with the Paramount Network. They want to make big fights and big events happen. So they need names. They need people to tune in. And to make that happen, you're not catering to me. You're not catering to little Nicholas over in the Peg. You're not catering to your hardcore fans listening. They're catering to the momos, to the idiots, to the guys sitting on the thing. And they know Chael. And they know Rampage. And they'll tune in for it. You know who they don't know? Douglas Lima. They have no fucking clue who the dude is. They kind of know who Rory McDonald is. So
no, they don't.
Yeah, they don't. I gave him a little credit, kind of. I actually think that, once again, he's like a kind of aware. If you're like a really big sports fan, you might know who Rory McDonald is. But unfortunately, that's not who brings in the big numbers. Brings in the big numbers is some casual audience. You bought these guys for their name value. Use their name value. They're the main event. It's fine. Everything will be okay.
I look at this in two ways. First, I think they get it. From their standpoint, this is a good move for all the reasons.
No, you cannot. You will not split the fence on this. You will make a decision. You will make.
I'm not saying they're in a way they don't get it, but I kind of am. Basically, they get it because this will help them. This will end up making them more money and get them better ratings. But I hate this. As far as being a fan of the sport, as far as doing the right thing, I hate this. If they had booked this 3 months out and from the get-go, from the very beginning, Sonnen Rampage was the main event, Lima McDonald was co-main, I wouldn't have a problem with it. I think it's still kind of weird, but I would understand it. But changing it last minute and not even informing either four fighters, at least especially Lima McDonald, saying, hey, you're the main event, now you're not, that's kind of disrespectful to them, I think. And so I don't like it. I think it's a smart move, but still a dumb move for sort of as far as
gets it or doesn't get it.
Oh, they still get it. They still get it.
Come on, then. Come on, then. They should have done it earlier. I agree, but come on. We all know what the fucking score is here, people.
Yeah. Next one, Paige Van Zandt's corner people, whatever you want to say, for letting her fight, knowing she had a broken arm, or as this coach who named, I don't know, said in an interview with MMA Fighting today, he figured that it wasn't as serious, but nonetheless, Van Zandt said it was broken and he heard her. Get it or not get it?
Doesn't get it. I have to think that when your fighter tells you that they've broken their arm right? So there's degrees in severity, and it's hard, especially for someone who's not a doctor, who's just working in in the pace of a fight. But you got to know your fighter. You got to know your fighter a little bit here. That she needs surgery. That's like a major issue, in my opinion. So I don't know. I think that you gotta pull that. You gotta step in there and make a hard call. The easy call is to let her fight. As stupid as that sounds, the easy thing to do in that is to let her finish the fight. And yeah, you could say she won the third round, whatever. Fuck it. She wasn't going to win that fight with one fucking arm. And you should know your fighter enough to get in there and be like, no.
Yeah.
You don't get it.
Paige Van Zandt's coach and coaches do not get it for, after being told she has a broken arm, not stopping the fight. I don't care that, of course Van Zandt said she would have been disappointed if they, threw in the towel. Of course she would have said that. She's a fighter. She likes fighting. She wanted to continue. But that doesn't matter. Fighters, when they're in the spur of the moment, when they're in between rounds and on a 1 minute break of beating someone up and getting beat up, they're not thinking straight as far as, should I be fighting right now? No, you shouldn't. And your coaches at the time should be able to make that educated decision. They're at fault. Thank God nothing serious or more serious happened as far as, life-changing injuries or things like that. But yeah, cornermen of PVZ do not get it. Athletic Commissions for continuing their iffy early weigh-ins.
Oh yeah, early weigh-ins have been a scandal throughout 2017. It seems like it's just going to continue in 2018. We had Uriah Hall apparently fainting on his way to the scale, having a seizure and having to be hospitalized for over 24 hours, I think. At least those are the reports we're hearing, right?
About a day. No, 2 days, I think, almost.
Holy shit.
I don't know.
Hey, so when I say over 24 hours, maybe not hop on it. Maybe not be so easy to correct, huh? I kind of hedged my bets because I didn't exactly know the time frame, but I knew it was more than a day.
Between 1 hour and about 72.
Okay. So Uriah Hall, had his little seizure. Geez, that seems dismissive. But yeah, early weigh-ins seem to be a little bit of a problem. At the beginning, you know, it seemed like a good idea. And I wonder if the later weigh-ins kind of hid more problems than we were aware of. And that maybe fighters are still fighting and having all of these issues. It's just now because of the early weigh-ins, there's less time to kind of mask and kind of fix these problems. There's less time to make a PR spin happen. There's less time to make a rash, you know, weight cut, or, you know, more time to, you know, inform the promotion and kind of figure out what's going on. So I don't know. I don't know what the whole story, but ultimately, I think that the athletic commissions don't get it, because it was a good step at the beginning to try out an early weigh-in, and I think fighters do need more time to rehydrate, and we have to discourage huge weight cuts. But more needs to be done. Newer ideas need to be tried until we eliminate this insane practice of weight cutting in mixed martial arts.
I'm on the fence with this one, and I don't think I can give an entirely educated answer unless I'm a fighter. And the thing is, it really comes down to fighters for so long were used to weighing in late in the day. They would have time in the morning and early afternoon to cut the last few pounds. And now they basically need to go to bed on weight. And so they're sleeping for maybe 7, 8 hours, maybe 9 hours if they're lucky, maybe even 10. I don't know. You know, sleep schedules are
probably
different.
A lot less. It's really hard to sleep when you're cutting weight.
Well, that's the thing.
And some fighters have been known to wake up at 4 now to do the last bit of weight cutting. You know, do less sauna sessions.
I mean, the thing is, waking up at 4 a.m. a day before your fight, I don't think that's healthy either. You need to get your rest 24 hours before a fight. I don't think going to bed on weight is necessarily or dehydrated is healthy either. I think that's, I mean, again, I'm not a doctor, but my guess is that's less healthy than just walking around during the day dehydrated. I mean, nothing's healthy about weight cutting, but if you're going what's healthier or less unhealthy, I think just sort of spitballing here, I think maybe weigh in the Thursday evening instead of Friday morning.
Hey, I like that. And then you get 2 full days to, but then people are going to weight cut even crazier amounts.
I know. But the thing with the early weigh-ins, this was just the first step to a lot of things. And we've seen the first step, but we haven't seen more, as you talked about.
California, we see hydration
in California, testing. But other commissions haven't followed suit. I'm talking about other.
We need hydration testing. That's it. Bottom line,
hydration testing.
We need hydration testing.
We need tests, say, maybe even every month, saying, I don't care if you're in a fight or not, but what do you weigh right now?
I think it's even simpler than that. Get on the scale, make the weight, take the hydration test, and you have to be hydrated over a certain percentage. And that's it. Those are your options.
Yeah,
you got to pass the scale, and then you got to pass the hydration test. And they're simultaneous.
I don't think say quarterly checks isn't a bad thing, though. I mean, if you want to throw
I would, but then it gets messy because we got state commissions and all this shit. The real solution is to get a federal commission involved in this and just be like, hey, if we're going to let governments be involved in, you know, sanctioning violence, which, you know, that's a debate to have it another time. But if we are, let's let the federal government, like, not these little fucking idiotic corrupt state governments do it. Not that the federal government isn't corrupt, but you know what I'm saying? Like, let's get some larger government body involved in this whole thing.
That's for what it's worth. It was just announced that Van Zandt will be having surgery on her arm.
Yeah, color me fucking shocked.
So yeah, I think the commissions that still do early weigh-ins, I think it's like it was a good trial period. I think I mean, I don't know if doing these early weigh-ins all the time permanently is great.
I like the idea of more time to rehydrate. I love that idea, but let's start adding more stuff.
You need to add more stuff because the thing is, as you said, you weigh in Thursday, then people are going to cut more. So then that's where you need to add in the test and see how much really were you cutting. So I think evening weigh-ins are good, but they can't be the Friday before. Okay. Let us move on. Let's go to Yoel Romero for suing for the supplement manufacturer. He got the supplement that was tainted. We're going back a year and a bit now, almost 2 years, I think. Of course, he was after beating Jacare Souza on that UFC 194 card, the same one where Rockhold beat Weidman. Basically, at that point, we were thinking, okay, Rockhold Romero for the undisputed title is going to happen. Then Romero gets popped. He gets a 6-month suspension. Makikawa does his magic, 6-month suspension because it was a tainted supplement. Romero, years later, is now suing the manufacturer of that supposed tainted supplement. Get it? Not get it.
Gets it all day. Everyone should be doing this. I heard Tim Means is doing this for his for the people who hit his tainted supplements up too. Yeah, but I hear a lot of shit. People talk.
And most of it isn't.
Yeah, no one knows what the fuck they're talking about. But yeah, man, Yoel, how dare you? How dare you spike Yoel Romero supplements? You get it, Yoel Romero. Go get that money for one. Get your reputation back. Hell yeah. Salute to Soldier of God. The only person allowed to talk about Jesus anymore is Yoel Romero. That's happening in 2018. I don't want to hear anyone else talking about Jesus. I only want to see Yoel Romero winning the interim title, preaching the word of God, suing supplement companies, and fucking becoming a millionaire. That's the only way I want to see this year play out.
Not Nate Marquardt.
Well, like, yeah, fuck Nate Marquardt talking about Jesus.
I think Romero gets it quite a bit here. Not just because he's, he might win the lawsuit, he might make some money, get some money, but I think it'll sort of, we've mostly forgotten in general about this whole USADA thing with Romero. It happened in a while back, and we've moved on. And since we know it was a tainted supplement, we have sort of not put Yoel Romero in the category of cheaters. But I think this will make us forget about it.
Don't be lying to yourself. Yoel Romero's doing every kind of steroid that's ever existed. But that still doesn't make him awesome. He's still the man.
Sure, but what I'm saying is that I think this will, for the people that care about drug testing and USADA and cheaters, this will put Romero more so out of that group than any time before.
Oh, if it's going to make you not root for Yoel Romero, he's never done a steroid in his life.
All right. Let's move on.
Simple as that.
A couple more. We got Luke Rockhold for saying Yoel Romero, who we just talked about, is an easier fight than Robert Whittaker.
As much as it pains me to say, I gets it. I gets it. Robert Whittaker, guy with not too many holes in his game. He's, and he's an evolving fighter, so he's closing all the gaps that exist. Whereas you're talking about your boy Yoel, as much as I love Yoel Romero, there's kind of been people who put out some blueprints out there on how you get him. I mean, Tim Kennedy was cracking Yoel Romero up not too long. Maybe that was 3 years ago.
2014.
Nicholas is like, yeah, that was like 4 years ago, bro. Take it easy. But, I get what he's saying. So, sure, you get it, Luke Rockhold. But I'm not happy about it.
I mean, Luke Rockhold is right. I mean, Robert Whittaker is a better fighter than Yoel Romero. He has less holes. And so I can't say that Rockhold doesn't get it because he's bang on. He is right. I think some people will look at this and say, oh, he's looking past Yoel Romero. Maybe, but I think he gets it just because he's not wrong. And so I don't think it's the smartest thing you can say, but I don't think he's wrong either.
Yeah, man. What happened to hyping shit up? They'll be like, hey, this guy's a walk in the park compared to Robert Whittaker. Oh, got him. Like, hype the fight up. Make it sound dangerous. Lie
Mayweather. Let him come in the fun.
Yep. And carried him for 7 rounds.
Yep. All right. 2 more. Dana White for not liking Kamaru Usman's post-fight interview. The whole I was at 30% health-wise. Colby Covington, you can't hide. And also, I think more so the what else did Usman say?
The 30% was the most egregious shit, and the performance was egregious. Dana White, you get it, good sir. Sometimes Dana White does speak for the people.
There's also Uriah Hall. Don't forget Uriah Hall. After Uriah Hall, Vitor Belfort was canceled on weigh-in day. White also trashed Hall for not listening to anybody, doing his own thing as far as weight cutting goes.
Oh, come on. Well, fuck that part of it. I'm down with shitting on, Usman. Don't be shitting on Uriah Hall, man. Had a fucking seizure, man. Cut him some fucking slack. It's hard out there.
Well, Dana White doesn't get it. And not because he's necessarily completely wrong. Was Kamaru Usman's performance and post-fight. I mean, I didn't really have a problem with his post-fight interview. His performance wasn't ideal, of course. But Dana White is a promoter. He's not the manager of Usman's last opponent, or he's not a fighter. He's a promoter. He should be promoting Kamaru Usman. The guy is from Africa. That's a market they haven't broken into. they can do big things there. For instance, Ngannou wins the title this weekend. If Usman keeps winning, if other African fighters keep winning and get signed, that's a market they're not in. Usman, despite his lackluster performances here and there, is a marketable fighter. And his mic skills are slowly improving, although I don't think they're fantastic. So Dana White doesn't get it because he keeps on trashing on his fighters. And as a promoter, that's literally the dumbest thing you could do.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, just in general, Dana White never gets it.
Of course. Last one, we start with the UFC, we end with the UFC. It's going to be a different one. UFC got it for doing the Matt Hughes thing. They're not going to get it for this one. UFC for not paying Vitor Belfort, despite Belfort not doing anything wrong, except for not wanting to fight a 1-0 UFC fighter on 1 day's notice.
Well, you know, Jesus and, you know, young dinosaurs and I don't know. I bet like if you you got to pay him. I think you got to pay him some money. You can't pay him his show money. Vitor Belfort's show money right now is probably $140,000. You're not gonna pay $140,000 for some guy to take a fucking, you know, take a jog. I don't know. It's stupid, but they probably should have came to some terms. But you know what? This is fucking on the managers. How's there nothing in your contract that says like, hey, if some guy pulls out late notice and shit, blah 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 blah, you know, hook me up with some shit.
Yeah, I mean. Again, this is why fighters need a union. This is why we need
and you know what? And it's no one's fault but the fighters at this point because we've only been preaching the union shit to them. It's not like someone's going to talk to a fighter and be like, "You guys need a union." I'd never heard of such a thing. What do you mean union?
Well, no, we can't trash them that much because
I can't trash them all. They're fucking stupid. They should unionize. There's been 3 very big professionals that have tried to unionize professional fighters, and they've rebuked said attempts. So guess what? You've made your bed. You're fucked. Go fuck yourself. Continue to get fucked. There's about to be a TV deal that they're going to sign. They're going to make $200 million a year, and you're not going to get a nickel. You nickel. Every day, every show that you're at, they sell tickets, thousands of tickets, and they don't get a nickel.
I see where you're coming from. I understand it.
Anthony Joshua is about to fight in London and make $28 million. Yeah. He's making $28 million. The headliner for boxing. Francis Ngannou's making $500,000.
Yeah.
What the fuck's going on?
I'm still going to say UFC doesn't get it because it's not a good look. They should be paying their fighters. Vitor Belfort weighed in. He did nothing wrong. You should not expect him to want to fight an unranked 1-0 in the UFC.
Cut him a $50,000 check. Don't be such cheap bastards and just shut him up.
Money. Give him his show money and he'll be happy.
Nah, because his show money's probably stupid big.
So what? The UFC makes a ton of money. They don't.
No, I bet you Vitor Belfort's show money's $400,000.
Probably, but they can give him that money. Who cares?
That's a retarded thing to say because that just made the whole event go on a loss. Maybe you know what I mean?
Not even close. I don't think.
Yeah, come on, because you're gonna have to rebook Vitor for a couple weeks later, and then you got to pay him for that too. And you know he's gonna take the event
versus Bisping most likely.
Well, that's a different situation. I don't know. Maybe turn down that. I heard Bisping don't want to fight him in the main event. He's too upset that he got wheel kicked.
$1 million bucks? Do you think that changes? Maybe.
That event ain't bringing in $1 million bucks. So
I'm gonna be missing that one. I'm gonna be on the plane to Europe.
What? Missing what?
The London card.
Oh, who gives a shit, man? That London card's gonna suck.
As long as, I mean, I am actually kind of intrigued by Belfort Bisping, so fingers crossed it doesn't happen. Sorry, everybody.
Okay. What the fuck you going to Europe for?
Fun.
Oh, all of Europe, or are you going to land in one country?
We've talked about this on the show before. Italy and Greece. Remember the whole?
No, I forgot.
No, remember we talked about the Colosseum and go watch some fights there. No.
Oh. Did you actually know what the Coliseum was?
Of course. I'm not that out of the loop.
I'm just checking. Just checking.
Okay, it's fair.
Checking. Fair. Very fair.
Okay. No dumb questions. So that means episode 146 of the MMA Circus is in the books. We're almost 150. I know that doesn't really mean anything, but I figured I'd throw that out there. Anyways, Andrew, it's been a slice. It's been a while. 3 weeks.
Been a slice.
Yeah.
Is that a phrase in Canada? It's been a slice.
It is.
Like a slice of time.
I don't know. I don't know what the slice is of, but I don't know.
Soda.
Maybe although we don't say soda here, it's a pop.
God, it's Just someone drop a thermonuclear bomb on you guys. It might be just for the best.
We thought it was going to Hawaii. It's actually headed to Winnipeg right now.
Everyone was like, not Hawaii. They're like, fine, Winnipeg. And everyone's like, we're cool with it. Even people in Winnipeg are like, oh, fuck it.
Oh, jeez. All right. You can find you on Clown Kid Twitter. Tell them where.
You're going to do mine? Yeah.
Just tell them.
You can find my writing at middleeasy.com, and you can find me on the Middle Easy Twitter account for most fight nights. Check us out at middleeasy.com. We're actually pumping out better content at the second half of the year. I'm like noticing we may be emerging as a real MMA website. Hopefully not. Hopefully we're still just talking about dicks and weird staph infections. You can find my personal stuff at Twitter or on Twitter at The Clown Kid.
All right. You guys can find me on the Twitter at Nick Baldwin MMA. You can find all of my writing over at bloodyelbow.com. I did a bunch of writing over the weekend, so if you need stuff to read, go for it. I put out an interview article with James Krause, who won over the weekend. The interview happened in Winnipeg when UFC Winnipeg was here, so the interview happened quite a while back. Didn't write it up till his fight just before it, but it was an interesting interview. He's a smart guy, so maybe go check that out if you're wanting something to read. I did interviews over the past few days with Max Griffin. He fights Mike Perry next month in Orlando. I interviewed Chad George, who, as we talked about earlier, returns on the Bellator card this weekend, 3-year layoff, the EBI guy. Fun chat with Chad George. Also talked to Shane Crutchton, who is the opponent of Aaron Pico on the Bellator card. And I talked to Matt Bissett, who is taking on Enrique Barzola on the featured Fight Pass early prelim this Saturday night at TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts, UFC 220. He's making his debut on short notice. And today, I talked to UFC Hall of Famer, legend in all of MMA and pretty much all of life, former light heavyweight champion Chuck the Iceman Liddell. Go check that out. That was a lot of fun talking to Chuck earlier today. And I have an interview in just a few minutes, actually. So that'll be happening very soon, and that'll be up probably tomorrow. So that is pretty much everything. You can find the MMA Circus on iTunes, Stitcher, Pocket Cast, Google Play, SoundCloud, TuneIn, Player FM, Overcast, Podcast Addict, and I believe that is it. Go rate us, review us, subscribe. You can give this video a thumbs up down there. Subscribe to the channel. We would really appreciate that. And any feedback, feel free to drop in the comment section down below. You can find my other shows, Before the Battle and Beyond Combat, exclusively on this YouTube channel. Though that's also where you can find those interviews I mentioned earlier. That is everything. For Andrew the Clown Kid Lawrence, my name is Nick Baldwin, and we're out.
What up, Sherry?